when people are leaving Africa, going back to other countries or going back to the United States should not make you fear, you who wants to come to Africa. There are some things that these people did wrong, and I'm here to help you not make the same mistakes they made. You see, it should not make you fear. Come to Africa and live as an African. So without further ado, I want us to check this video. So I want us to discuss something. What is the cost of moving to Africa? What does it really cost to move in Africa? I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about how to live, cost of living, all that. No. But how much does it take from you for you to take from it? So that is the aim of always this channel. I've always been trying to do all this and that. Me making these videos is to help you know the things to see. You see, we should be learning from history. We should not be repeating history itself. Unless it's a good thing we want to repeat, we should always learn from it. So we want to take a look at this East African country of Tanzania. Tanzania has been a very, very good country that has been doing really good for our brothers and sisters back in the States who are moving to Africa. Tanzania has provided a home, has provided a sanctuary for our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. The importance of Tanzania should not be overlooked and should never be overlooked. Tanzania is a great country. Tanzania is a very fine country with very good people, hospitable people, friendly people. Just as any other country, Tanzania also has its challenges, you know. Ever since Magufuli became the president and post-COVID is when we started getting many African diaspora moving to Tanzania. That is when you African Americans were feeling Tanzania. African Americans, we also have Africans from the Caribbean, Africans from the southern part of America, which is mostly Brazil. We have islands such as the Suriname. Such countries were moving all the way from those places moving to Tanzania. However, despite moving and all that, some African Americans, actually many of them, this sum includes very many African Americans, are leaving Tanzania, going back to the United States of America. Yes. I've said this before. I have said it before. But people's experiences differ. The other day I did about Lala's journey, Sister Lala's journey. She does really nice work. She was able to communicate some things. You see, learning from people's experiences when you can be able to grasp a wider picture, if not the full picture. You can be able to get different things because different people have different experiences. So without further ado, I want us to watch this video and then I'll get back in the end and give my perspective of what I think is making African Americans leave Tanzania.
Tell them about yourself a little bit.
Hi, how y'all doing? It's a pleasure to be on your channel today, Traveling Sister.
Yes.
Big fan from a long time. I'm Biggs. I've been traveling in Africa for a few years. I'm from Jamaica originally, but I grew up in London. Spent some time in New York, also in Europe. I was in the music business for many years and also the entertainment business. I met the mother of my children in London in university like 15 years ago. My oldest daughter is 14 now, so like 16 years ago now. So longer than I expected. And that's what introduced me to Africa on the whole, but especially Tanzania. And the first time I came here was like 15 years ago, and I got to what my ex-mother-in-law, who's still my mother-in-law, we're still really close, my ex-wife's mother called the Africa bug. You know, I fell in love with Africa, so I started kind of gearing up towards moving towards Africa and things like that. So I've been here this time a year and a half now in and out. I've been coming to Tanzania for like, I spent at least 3 to 6 months a year in Tanzania every year for the last 13 years.
That's what's up. So you're pretty familiar with Tanzania. Yeah, so you've been coming back and forth for a minute.
Exactly.
So with everything going on in the world right now, post-COVID, well, I can't even call it post-COVID because I don't even know what, you know what I'm saying, where that stands with the rest of the world. But I know last year we saw a big influx of people coming out here to Tanzania. whether they were relocating permanently or whether they were relocating temporarily, waiting for other countries on the continent to open up. So with that being said, some people stay, some people go. You know, that's travel, that's relocation for you. But lately, I've been seeing a lot of families who were intending to permanently relocate here to Tanzania go, you know? But it's been a lot of disappointment because, you know, people come out here expecting to set up shop, to set up their life, and they end up having to leave. Like, in your opinion, what's one thing that is causing people to leave?
I think, like you said, the mass exodus came after the outbreak of COVID-19. So many people, I mean, we've all, for any conscious black person, I guess the aim has always been Africa. But more people were geared towards West Africa, you know, Ghana, few to Gambia, etc., etc. So a lot of people have been researching for 2, 3, 4, 5 years about relocating back to Ghana. And when the corona thing came, that was kind of like the last kick. And they took that same research that they did about Ghana, and many people made the assumption it was the same thing here. So like you said, there was a mass influx. You know, we've been here a little while. There was years, I tell people all the time, there was years if I ever saw a black British person or a black American person, it was a very unique experience. And you'd be like, yo, what's up? You know, we have to talk, because you just be meeting a lot of white people and never any black people from the diaspora. But now you can't go to a cafe or KFC or Pizza Hut or any bar without seeing a whole group of African Americans and black British, which is an amazing thing.
Right.
But I feel like people didn't do their research about what Tanzania is, you know. I tell people all the time here, but I guess it's like this all over the world. It's pay to play. Like, nothing's free here, you know. So I don't know why some people don't realize that. It's the same all over the world. I think a misconception a lot of people have, and this is my humble opinion, by the way, is that we are coming home. Historically, this is our home, this is a motherland, and we are children of this continent. You know, I don't feel powerful more anywhere than when I'm on this continent.
Right.
But we are still foreigners. And a lot of African Americans, I feel, in my opinion, as I say, and black British and black Europeans, get disappointed because the local Tanzanian population still perceive us as foreigners.
Right.
You know, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but a lot of people don't realize, for example, when you get a house, you have to pay the agent who gets you the house. Sometimes it's up to 1 month's rent.
Always.
So they budget for a house for 6 months, not budgeted for that 7th month for the agent. Schools cost, hospitals cost. The kind of food and snacks that you're used to, the brands that you recognize, especially if you're here with a family, your kid's gonna pull for a box of Pringles. They're gonna pull for that Oreos. A packet of Oreos is 3-4 times more expensive than it is in the States. And you have to bear in mind, it has to be shipped in.
Import
There's
costs.
a clearance, there's stamp duty, everything like that. So you have to be prepared to compromise. What I do with my kids, like, my kids love it here, they never leave, but they laugh at me sometimes and they say, oh, you're cheap, because what I do is I give them the local snacks, which is the same thing. It tastes pretty much the same, and sometimes it's better because there's less processed sugar, stuff like that. I like a pack of Pringles every now and again, but with the biscuits, with the chocolates and stuff like that, I buy the local stuff because it gets easier to stay longer. Like, you can't be spending the equivalent to $8 on a packet of Oreos.
Yeah, for real. And it's like, you know, I really want everyone to bear in mind that, you know, when you're buying things, like, because, okay, I've heard the gripes like, oh, y'all said it was cheap out there. Yes, it can be cost effective for you to live here, depending on your lifestyle. If you come wanting to live the Western lifestyle, no matter where you're from, you're going to pay for it.
Of course.
You know, you're going to pay for it. And once you get into that groove of paying for it, then you look up and half of your life savings is gone. You know what I'm saying? So you guys, like, it really is a whole lifestyle adjustment out here, you know? So you really have to keep that in mind, and you got to budget for it if you want to live that same lifestyle that you were living in your home country. Another thing that I see with diasporas leaving is, another reason is visa issues. You know, you guys, technically I'm not a visa immigration officer or anything like that, so I'm not legally allowed to give you advice. But what I will say is, if you want to do business, you're gonna have to get a business visa. If you want to stay, you're gonna have to get residency, you guys. And I hate to break it to y'all, but like, it's not always the best route to get a student visa. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm gonna say.
And just to cut in there, what happens with the student visa, it was fine. For years, the little few people you'd meet, student visa was fine. There's so much of a mass influx now where I have friends in the immigration department and friends in different places, and they say like, we notice the influx of you guys coming in. So all of a sudden, there's 1,000 African Americans and Black British in Dar es Salaam who want to study Swahili. That goes on their radar, you know. So the immigration laws apply here just like any country in the world. A lot of African Americans and Black British complain to me like, it's like they don't want us here. I say, of course they want us here. It's not the issue, but these people can't just move to England. These people can't just move to America without getting the right permits and visas. So that's how it is here. So for example, the work permit, you need a work permit and a residence permit, and you have to register a business. The cost for everything is nearly $5,000, and sometimes it's more, and that only lasts for 2 years. For women, it's different. Women can get married. It's different for men and women here. If a man marries a Tanzanian woman, he can stay, but she can't claim him as a dependent. A Tanzanian man can claim an American woman or a British woman as a dependent. But that also only lasts for 2 years, and there's a cost to that. There's a volunteer visa. There's a cost for that also. What happens is Ghana was, because they had that year of return, and they realized, like, you know, there was a lot of money that African Americans and Black British and diaspora bring into Ghana. Like, their economy jumped by like 9% after the year return and keeps growing because of the influx. So it's easier to relocate to Ghana. I wouldn't put anybody off coming to Tanzania, because to me, the rewards are worth it. It's an amazing country once you understand the pace of life, the nuances. You know, it's an amazing place to live, and I'm sure you'd agree. That's why we're here.
Right. That's why I've been here. December is going to be 5 years. Like, you know, and yes, I understand I'm in a completely different situation because my husband is Tanzanian. So I have ease of access to a lot of different things. But, you know, I still urge people to do their research, which, you know, is coming to my next point. People are leaving. It's a mass influx of people leaving Tanzania because they are not properly doing their research. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people have unrealistic expectations about what the lifestyle is like here. And y'all know I harp on this almost in every video, you guys, about, you know, what to expect in the whole romanticization thing. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, when it comes to the cost of living and housing and things like that, you guys, you can't expect to get like a 6-bedroom mansion for $150. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to really do your research, and you have to be financially prepared. And what I also urge you to do is have either some type of side hustle, have some revenue coming in. It's great that you bring your savings, but it's just gonna keep depleting if you don't have something sustaining yourself, you know? Yeah, so I wanna touch a little bit on cultural differences as well, because I feel like that is a huge factor in making people leave, you know what I'm saying? And just kind of people's unwillingness to accept or bend, you know what I'm saying, to bend to the culture, you know, because like it or not, like, this is their land.
Of course. Like,
it's not, you know what I'm saying, you don't have any rights here as a citizen. You see what I'm saying? Yes, naturally, we are from the continent, as the brother said earlier. This is our natural home. This is our original home, the whole continent. Not talking about the colonial borders that they've imposed. The continent, period. But it's things about this culture that we have to learn, we have to accept, or it's not going to be an easy transition. So what are some of the things that you want to tell people about, like cultural differences?
Yeah, there's a lot of cultural differences, and there's also a lot of things that we're very similar in. Like, so for example, I'll start with, I used to live in Ethiopia. I spent a lot of time in Ethiopia, and what I realized was the difference. I'm Jamaican originally, but I feel like African Americans, Jamaicans, Black British, we're similar in the sense where we have been bred. We're really not a natural people. So in the sense where that's why we win every 100 meter, every 200 meter, every 400 meter. The heavyweight champion of the world is always going to be a Jamaican, an African American, or a Black British. Like there's reasons that we rise to the top, and it's because we've been bred. It's Darwinist science. Like the weak of us died out because of the slavery, and the colonialism was so intense. You couldn't survive if you were weak. So when I was in Ethiopia, I realized what we are endurance people. Fast, speed, punching, straight to the point, heavy impact. They are long distance. We've never been able to master the marathon or the long distance. So it's an Ethiopian or a Kenyan or Eritrean or someone from this coast in Africa. So I feel like there's so much things we can teach each other. But back to the original point with Tanzania. There's slight cultural differences which are huge. And I was explaining to the sister earlier off camera. Trust me, it took me years to adjust to some things. You know, things like concept of time. You know, things like time here. Time is not money. So time is money to us. But here, time is not money. Time is time.
Right.
So someone would tell you 12 o'clock and turn up at 4 or 5 or even 6 o'clock. And they're still cool with that because they're like, well, I turned up. You know, what I do now, as explained to our brother Jesse, real cool brother, moved here with his family like 4 months ago. He was having a real issue with it, and I say, if we have a meeting at 2 and you're not there at 2:30, I just leave. I don't get angry or anything. If you call me at 5 and say you're there, I just tell you I'm not there, and that way I feel myself getting angry less and less. And I moved to Africa to always feel angry.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. The concept of time, it took a while, and I'm still adjusting to it. You know, to be completely honest, I'm still adjusting to just I guess I can call it like a lackadaisicalness. You see what I'm saying? But, you know, it's just the natural flow of things. It's just
So, let's have a critical analysis of these reasons why African Americans are leaving Tanzania back to United States or to other African countries. Remember, this does not only apply to Tanzania, it applies to other African countries as well. However, we are using Tanzania as an example. The first one, as I told you before, was cultural differences. So, Tanzania's cultural richness, stemming from its diverse ethnic groups and historical influences, can present both an enchanting mosaic and a daunting challenge for Black Americans. Language barriers ranging from the multitude of local languages to variation in English proficiency might hinder effective communication. As I told you before in the earlier videos, if you watched them, Tanzania, the national language of Tanzania is Swahili. The official language of Tanzania is Swahili. So 9 out of 10 people in Tanzania will be speaking Swahili. That is 90%. So having to learn this Swahili is an important thing. Those who don't learn Swahili are having a challenge, and they can't vibe. They don't have the chemistry with the individuals in the country. And hence, this forces them to leave. Actually, it forces them to leave, you see. We have things like social norms. We have customs and tradition deeply rooted in Tanzanian society can create a sense of unfamiliarity. The other day with Sister Lala, she was just, the social norms in Tanzania were unbearable for her. Remember, she's a woman from the Caribbean in Jamaica. So the social norms in Tanzania were too much unbearable for her. She couldn't handle the social norms in Tanzania. So what she had to do is find a country that could suit her social norms, her ways of living. That is how she wanted things. For example, she wanted to wear, she was a model, she wants to wear short dresses, tight skirts and all that. I'm not against whatever you wear, but remember, each African country has its own social norms and traditions. You see? For Black Americans, adapting to a new cultural paradigm requires a delicate balance between preserving their own identity and embracing the intricacies of Tanzanian culture or the African culture. So I'm not telling you, or no one is telling you to lose yourself while trying to fit in. Just try to blend in with the society that you're living in, because the society is much larger than you. It is you to blend into the society, not the society to blend into you. That is something different. That is something that it's really easy and yet hard at the same time. It depends with how flexible you are. If you are flexible, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, let's jump to the second reason why African Americans are leaving Tanzania to other countries, which this one will be job opportunities. The economic landscape in Tanzania, while exhibiting growth, may not always align with the career expectation of Black Americans. I always tell you, don't come to Africa looking for a job. You can come to Africa and create a job, but not look for a job. That is something different. Africans are leaving Africa each day, each month, each week, going to the United States, even going to Europe, risking their lives and all that. That should tell you that Africa, we don't have that much of job opportunities. We only want people who can create jobs. So at least if you can create a job, that is something that can be able to earn you money as you also help the society. You see? As I continue, I can say that limited availability of job opportunities, particularly in sectors where the skills of these African Americans and expertise are applicable, can lead to professional frustrations. African American can be talented in this and that, but if they come with the mindset of finding a job with that skill, it might be hard. Just come open-minded. You might find a job. The chances are not zero. The chances are also having good numbers, but not zero and not that much high. Come with an open mind, hoping to get, and that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Hoping to get a job, and eventually, one time you might stumble and get a job. But having an open mindset is gonna shield you from a lot of frustration that might come. Having a job might protect you from whatever from whatever that you might face. Having an open mindset is a shield, guys. It's a very nice shield. So we have wage disparities influenced by economic factors and differing perception of job value contribute to the complexity of the employment situation. Africans, we don't pay as in the United States. Like, this is just common sense. It's purely common sense. Nobody needs to tell you Africa, the cost, the salary and the cost that you'll be paid for your job is not the same as in the United States. Africa, we are in the developing stages. Don't come to Africa expecting to be paid 6 figures, while the same person who has the same skills as you in Africa is paid a 3-figure. You see the disparity? It's a very huge disparity. Just come being open-minded, you see? Being open-minded is a very nice thing. So the challenge here in job opportunities lies in navigating these economic intricacies and finding a stable, satisfying professional foothold. This is why I'm always telling you, don't come to Africa looking for a job unless the job calls for you. If the job calls for you, it's something different. But you coming to look for a job from scratch, it's different. You coming to create a job is also different. Creating a job is something that there's a very huge chance of success. There's a very huge chance that you're gonna make it through, because Africans themselves are looking for those jobs, and it's gonna work. So the third one, we have social dynamics. So navigating the social dynamics in Tanzania poses a unique set of challenges. Black Americans might find themselves in communities with deeply ingrained social structures and norms that differ significantly from what they are accustomed to in the United States. So building a meaningful connection with the local community might require a nuanced understanding of social hierarchies, communal relationship, and shared values. The adjustment process involves not only integrating into these social structures, but also contributing positively to them, fostering a sense of belonging and reciprocal understanding. This is very important. You see, the adjustment process involves not only integrating into these social structures, but also contribute positively to them, fostering a sense of belonging and reciprocal understanding. I've told you guys, some of these people who came, they were not able to provide. You don't need to give money, you just need to do something for the local people. Even the local people are doing something for the local people. Do something for the local people, you will feel that there's a reciprocation. And if there's a reciprocation, it means there's good vibe, you see? You can live here, you can survive here, you can thrive here. There's a good vibe, you know. If you give, your neighbors will give you. If you show respect, your neighbors are gonna show you respect. If you provide for them, your neighbors will provide for you. That is what I always see happening. Africa, we have villages, and villages is like a door-to-door place. When somebody prepares, when somebody's cattle dies, a cow dies, the meat is supplied in very many villages, houses. Meats are supplied. Hey, I have, my cow is dead, come and have some meat. And if they're going to sell it, they're going to sell it at a very cheap price. This is what happens in African villages. There's that reciprocation. And just try and blend into this. Listen from the African himself. Listen from the African himself. I'm the African himself. I'm telling you what I've seen, what I see, what I experience. I've lived in Africa till now. Still in Africa. And I love this continent. So the fourth reason, educational opportunities. This is very challenging. For families, educational consideration play a pivotal role in the decision-making process. Disparities in the quality of education and the availability of advanced learning facilities can impact the academic journey of African American children or the African diaspora children. Nobody wants their child to be done ahead. Nobody wants that. So they'll try and choose the best school there is. Some people, okay, African, we don't have the best education as that of the United States of America, but we do have good education. A number of schools here in Africa provide good education, and the quality of education that can match the ones we have in the United States of America are those that we can find in international schools, the British curriculum schools and the American curriculum schools. We have such schools even here in Kenya. But these schools are damn expensive. They're really damn expensive. If other people can just study in ordinary African schools and make it in life, go to universities, become engineers, become doctors, become teachers, become anyone. So if an African can make it with these schools, I believe also an African American can make it. Quality education is also provided. It's only that some African Americans can perceive that Africa has a very poor education system, and so they would rather not bring their children to study here, and maybe this education system might be a deal breaker to them. And so what? They choose to leave. They choose to go back to their country, United States, or choose another country or another continent, you see? The decision to return may stem from a desire for educational environment that align more closely with personal aspiration, providing a platform for intellectual growth and holistic development. This balances the pursuit of quality education with the broader aspect of cultural and social adaptation, which becomes a critical aspect of the migration experience. Now the fifth one, we have government policies and stability. There was a time the government of Tanzania was cracking down on illegal migrants. This is not only something that the government of Tanzania does. Any government will do that. Any government in the world will crack down on illegal migrants. So political stability is an integral factor influencing the living experience in any country. Changes in political landscape or policies shifts in Tanzania may evoke uncertainty and concern among Black Americans. Understanding the political climate, government policies, and their potential impact on daily life becomes crucial for individual contemplating a long-term stay. You see, the decision to return may, in part, be influenced by the perceived stability and predictability of the political environment. Tanzania does not have that much of political unrest like Kenya and maybe Uganda. Tanzania don't hear much of that. Kenya and Uganda, mostly Kenya is where we have a lot of political instability, mostly during election with the demonstration, maandamano, post-election violences. In Kenya, there's always somebody who is alleged thief of election and alleged winner. People always fight here in Kenya. Tanzania, I don't hear much of this. I don't hear much of this. But some people complain that the immigration, which is also the government, are not favoring them. This is something that Sister Lala said. This is something that also Brother has said. It's something I have noticed African Americans are complaining about, and it's hard not to miss in these my points. And I hope you get something from this. So, let's look at the sixth point. The sixth point, which is also my last point. Here, I'd say the healthcare system. The healthcare system. If you have all the money in the world that you can even travel Africa 10 times in a day, but you don't have good health, it means nothing. It's totally nothing, nothing, nothing. So, about the healthcare. Access to quality healthcare is a fundamental consideration for individuals and families. You see? Disparities in healthcare services and infrastructure between Tanzania and the United States may raise concern about the well-being of Black Americans. Navigating the local healthcare system, understanding available medical services, and ensuring adequate health coverage becomes a significant aspect of daily life. The decision to return could be driven in part by a desire for healthcare environment that align more closely with expectation and provide a sense of security for the health and well-being of individuals and their families. That's it, healthcare. Even Africans always leave Africa going to find healthcare outside Africa. It happens. Nobody can blame people for doing that. You can't blame no one. We really can't blame no one about this, you see? So, to conclude the whole matter, in order to understand why African Americans are leaving Africa, Tanzania, Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, Gambia, is to know that the reasons involves a delicate interplay of these factors I've provided, which is social adaptation, political stability, healthcare, education, and the cultural adaptability. You see, understanding these things will be able to make you understand why African Americans are leaving. You see, when you understand these things and you adapt, you socialize, you become well knowledgeable, you interact with the Africans in the society, with the locals themselves. Put yourself in the position of the African. Come in Africa wanting to live like an African. Don't come to Africa wanting to live like an African American, which is a problem I see many African Americans doing. It ain't good at all. So these complexities underscores the complexity of the human experiences when navigating the intersection of personal expectation, cultural diversity, and global mobility. That is all we can tell about this video, and with the time you'll be able to understand the do's and the don'ts of Tanzania. And people living Tanzania should not make you fear, should not make you not want to come to Africa. Actually, it should be something that should encourage you to come to Africa, because you are subscribed to Evans from Kenya. Evans from Kenya makes it real for what it is. I make it real for what it is. Some people complain, but it is what it is. Kindly subscribe to the channel. It helps your boy a lot.